Good morning. Thank you for joining us today for the JobNimbus 101 workshop on the sales dashboard and email templates. We appreciate you all being here. My name is Tristan.
My name is Daniel.
My name is Logan, and it's a pleasure to have you all here today. Today, we're going to be talking about some new features that have been added to JobNimbus. We're making a concerted effort to add new features to JobNimbus as often as possible. We're aiming at once a month. And as we do, we will share them with you in our webinars. Today, we're going to be talking about two things that have recently come to JobNimbus. We've added email subject lines to our templates, and we've also added the sales dashboard to all of our accounts. Previously, that was available for some people, but not everyone. And we're excited to have that available for everyone now. That will allow you to get a better insight on your data and more information on how your sales reps are doing. Today, we're going to spend a lot of time inside the JobNimbus web app. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask them in chat or in the question and answer portion of the webinar. And Tristan will ask them to us at a given time near the end. We'll also give you a chance to raise your hand and we can talk and see if we can answer your questions that way. So without any further ado, let's jump into JobNimbus.
Awesome. So the first feature that we want to talk about today is the email template subject lines, and that is a mouthful. So the email template subject lines they're really neat. You can really automate your email templates by adding subject lines to the templates before you send them out. So let's take a look at them. To get to your email template subject lines, you'll want to go to your settings by clicking your name in the top right corner and select settings from the drop-down menu, and then select templates from the menu here on the left. This will pull up all of your templates, and we're going to specifically be looking at email templates. As you see, there are a lot. So let's pull up this welcome email here at the bottom. As you see, it doesn't have a subject line in it yet, but let's pull here and actually let's fix the email template real quick. Do apologize. We're gonna just make this so it's a bit better. As you see, we have template fields here, and you want to use your template fields to really customize your emails for your contacts and your jobs. And the same is true for the subject line. As you see, we have a text field here where we can type in our subject line, and we can basically type in whatever you want there, if I can spell correctly. Or we can also use the template fields and type in something that is really punchy and really, really good. That'll catch the attention of your contacts. So we're going to actually first come into the contacts and put in first name. And we're going to say, we look forward to working with you. So there we go. Now, as soon as this subject line or this email is sent to our contact, their name is going to be right there in their inbox saying, hey, John, we look forward to working with you. And then they'll open the email and they'll see this email that's been sent to them. And that's really all there is with the template, with the subject lines in the template. You just add it right there in the text field. You can use any of the template fields that are in this drop-down menu to really help customize what you're saying in your subject line for your contacts. But where can these subject lines be used in JobNimbus? Let's take a quick look. So let's save this template right here, and let's pull up a contact. We're going to pull up Mick. So when we go to Mick's file, we can either add an email by clicking on the three dots here to pull up the action menu and click on send email, or we can click on add note and change the note type to email. Now, when we're in the email builder in the contact, we can choose a design template to send to them. And these are any of the templates that you have created in your settings. So let's click on welcome email. And as you see, here we have our email template, the display name, pulled up the contact's name, and then we come down here to the subject line. And there we have our contact first name, Mick. We look forward to working with you. So everything looks good. We can give it a one final look through and then select MIC and send email. And as you see, it's sending, and here it is right here. Subject line, MIC, we look forward to working with you, and the email right below it. Now, another thing with the subject lines that you might be familiar with is when before with the automation rules, you could use email templates in your automation rule and then type in a custom subject line there. Let's actually take a look at our automation rules, because when you come in here and edit an automation rule, we can go to when you choose the send email action, used to have this text field right here for subject line. As you notice, that is no longer there. And that is because the automations are pulling from the subject line that you have added into the email template already. And that really helps automate your email templates. You don't have to worry about adding in new subject lines with your automation rules. It's already there in your email template. Now, something that's really cool that JobNimbus did is if you have a whole bunch of email templates and they're already added into automation rules, you don't have to worry about adding a new subject line to those email templates. And that's because JobNimbus already added that subject line for you. As we see right here, this email template, we look forward to working with you, was added into an automation rule. And the subject line that was used in that automation rule was thanks for your business. JobNimbus already took that subject line from that automation rule and put it into the subject line for this email template. So most of the work has already been done for you. Now you just need to go into the email templates that you were not using with automation rules and add that subject line to those email templates so you can really use your email templates with ease. So that right there is one of the really neat features that we've added into JobNimbus. The other one that we've released to everybody, as Logan said before, is the sales dashboard. And now we want to go in and talk about the sales dashboard and really get into it and explain how it works.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dan. Before we can talk about the sales dashboard, we have to set up a few, let's say, basics that we'll use in order to get good information out of the sales dashboard. These are two things. One is called stages, and the second is using our estimates. You might be familiar with these already, but just in case, let's go over them. In order to get your stages changed, you have to go into your workflows. You can get to your workflows by going to your name in the upper right-hand side and going to settings. Once you get into the settings, choose either job workflows or contact workflows, whichever one you use. We'll choose job workflows here, and we'll use this residential workflow as an example. Click on the three dots to the far right, and then choose Edit. Inside, you'll see on the far left the status name, like incoming leads, and then the next column over is the stage. For us, there's only a few stages that will matter when we're working with the sales dashboard. That is lead, estimating, and sold, with a focus on lead and sold. You can change these by clicking on the three dots to the far right of a status and choosing Edit. Here you can change the stage. You can choose between lead, estimating, sold, in production, accounts receivable, lost, completed, and lost. Other than none and lost, these have to be in a specific order. So if we tried to change this to accounts receivable, we'll get a warning saying, hey, these need to be in a linear order, because you can't put something in accounts receivable before it's actually gone through production. The importance of having these, especially lead and sold, is that it tells the system when something has become a lead, and then later, the day that it has sold. In other words, they've signed a contract and they're ready to work with you. Now, I've set these in a few places because generally I want everything going into incoming leads, but my sales guys, sometimes they get overexcited. They meet someone, they make a lead, and they schedule an appointment right there, and so they started in schedule appointment. Either way, I want every contact or every job to touch one of my lead statuses. Later, I want sold to be on signed contract, but if they skip that, I also put it on pending review. And our sold date will count whenever we first hit a sold status. That's a little bit on stages and how they work. Now let's jump into estimates and what we need to do with them to get them to show up on our reporting.
Yes, estimates are super important because that is what the sales dashboard uses to say that it has received revenue. So let's actually look in how to build an estimate real quick. So let's pull up MIC again. And we're going to go to, once we're in the mix file, the contacts file, we can select financials. And then we're going, as you see, MIC has no financial documents whatsoever. So let's add an estimate. You can add an estimate by clicking on the Add Estimate button. And this will pull up the estimate builder. Now you can type out the estimate, add all the line items, but we're going to use a saved estimate here to save us a lot of time. Now, as you see, as soon as I selected the saved estimate, it pulls up a whole list of products that we're going to be using and that we've sold to MIC. And we see down here, the total is $594. So now that we have the estimate built out, we're going to save it. And that will automatically go into mix file. So let's, we can view it here, but let's go into mix file again and back into the financials tab, because there's something really important that we need to do in order for that estimate to appear in your sales dashboard. And that is to change the status of the estimate. As you see, the status is in draft. The sales dashboard will only recognize estimates that are either in the approved or invoiced status. In order to change the status of an estimate, we click on the three dots here, and then we can hover over change status, and we can choose either approved or invoiced. Now, another really cool thing is we can click on the three dots, hover over convert to, and we can choose invoice. Now, the reason why invoice is such a good option and such a great shortcut for you is as soon as I click on invoice, it'll create an invoice for the for MIC, which I can add more line items and then save it. But also, when I get back to MIC's contacts file, you'll notice something with that it did with the status. So let's come back to financials. Notice how the status is automatically updated to MIC. The status is automatically updated to invoiced for MIC Rory. Now, not only do I have an estimate in the invoice status, but I also have an invoice that I can now send to the contact to start receiving payments. Now, if you don't use estimates in JobNimbus, but instead have an integration with QuickBooks, you can sync your estimates over into JobNimbus and change the status to approved or invoiced, and the sales dashboard will still recognize that it's revenue that you're bringing into your company. So now that we have a good foundation with our stages and our estimates, let's take a look at the sales dashboard and see what reports that we have available for you in the sales dashboard. So in order to get to your sales dashboard, you'll first want to click on dashboard in the left side navigation bar there, and then you can choose between either classic or sales. Classic is the old dashboard that we have. It's still really awesome. You can use custom reports on it, but right now we want to look at the sales dashboard and see what built-in reports we have for you.
Thanks, Dan. The first thing you'll find when you go to the sales dashboard is the sales pipeline report. This shows you the current number of contacts or jobs you have inside the given stages. So lead, estimating, and sold. Charles Snell has 14, 13, and 3. Byron has 1, 2, and 1. And poor Harry only has 1 in estimating. Now we can adjust the information shown here in 4 ways. If we have multiple locations, like we do here, We can choose which one we're seeing information from, or we can get it from all of them. If you have jobs active, you can choose between contacts and jobs, although we suggest if you're using jobs, all of your data be kept inside jobs. You can also choose which workflows you're seeing. And lastly, you can choose which sales reps are shown. For instance, let's not see Harry. You'll notice that when we change that, that changes the report at the same time. You'll also notice when we're looking at this that we have a lot more people as potential sales reps than we're seeing here. The system will recognize if someone has no information, and it won't show you just a name with no information there. So this gives you a good overview of what is currently running through your sales pipeline. But if you want to see a little bit more information about how sales are going, you'll want to look over at the revenue leaderboard.
Yes, the revenue leaderboard is a great way for you to see how much money each of your sales reps are bringing into your company. As you see, it can be customized much like the sales pipeline. We can choose between a location, we can choose between contact or job. And as Logan said, if you have jobs enabled, you want to have all of your information in jobs. So this honestly isn't a great example as we are looking at the contacts, but please disregard that. Use jobs if you have jobs enabled to enter in all of your invoices and estimates. It'll just keep your account clean and organized. Here we can look at we can choose between looking at all of the estimates or just the most recent estimate. So let's say we have a whole bunch of different jobs for a contact. And so we have all of the different estimates for those different jobs. We want to look at all of the estimates for every single contact, and that will help us project exactly how much revenue we're going to bring into the company. We can choose between a specific workflow or look at all of the workflows. We have a date range. We can look at all of the estimates that have been brought in this month, this quarter, this year, any of those date ranges here. We can choose a custom date range if we want to. And we can look at specific sales reps, just like the sales pipeline. Now, what this does is this really helps the sales reps, drives competition with the sales reps. They can look at, see where they're at in the revenue leaderboard, see where they need to be so that they can better compete with each other in bringing revenue into the company. It also helps with the admins and the company owner to see how much revenue is coming into your company and which sales reps might need a bit of a push. As we see Harry here, he's at the bottom. He might need some mentoring to help him really turn things around and to get more revenue in the company. So now that's really all there is with the revenue leaderboard. Let's come down here and look at some more reports that we have.
All right, the next one is the average deal size sold. Now the controls are about the same: location, type, estimate, so on and so forth. But this is showing what our average deal is for each rep. So Sergio's doing quite well with his average deal being worth $28,000. Harry's doing very poorly. His average deal is only worth about $1,900. One control that I'd like to draw some attention to here is the workflow. Because you keep different types of business in different workflows, you can see what your average deal looks like for each workflow. So for instance, our standard workflow, the customer workflow, looks like this. Our average deal is somewhere between $1,400 and $1,900 and $1,900 with some variation based on sales rep. However, if we look at our service deals are worth an average of $28,000. So maybe we want to be focusing on getting some more service deals. You can do the same thing in your account to find out what sort of deals are making you the most money and then focus on getting more of those. The next thing we have is the deals leaderboard sold.
Yes, the deals leaderboard is a little bit different from the other leaderboards that we've looked at, as it doesn't look at the revenue that it's being brought in. Instead, it looks at the amount of sold jobs that you have made in your company. We can look at here and we see that Charles has made 5 5 deals. That means that the contacts that Charles is assigned to have moved from the status with the lead stage to a status with the sold stage. And we see Sergio has only had 1 deal, but we come over here to our average deal size, and we see that Sergio's 1 deal was pretty big. Now, another thing that we can do, much like the average deal size, is we can look at different workflows and see how many deals are being made within each workflow, which workflows that we want to focus on to bring in more deals and more revenue, and which ones we might want to work a little harder on to get some more revenue brought into the company. So that all of that really helps you see which sales reps are driving the most revenue, which sales reps are bringing in the most deals, and how big the average deal that they're bringing in is. Now, the last, we have one more report that we want to look at in the sales dashboard report. And so let's pull up this last report here.
All right, the last report is a little bit different. This is our lead source report. If we're keeping our data well in JobNimbus, this will tell us where our leads are coming from, how they're getting sold, and what the percentage is. So in order to use this, we have to have lead sources. You'll see here a list of all of our lead sources, and this will vary from company to company. Not everyone's going to use Sales Rabbit. Not everyone's going to go to a trade show. So let me show you how you can adjust this for your company before we move on. In order to get to your lead sources, we'll go back into your settings. So choose your name in the upper right-hand side, go to settings. And on the left-hand side, right under automation, choose the lead source. Here we have a list of all of our lead sources. We can also add a new one. And this is just a text field. We can fill it out with whatever and then save it. We can also manage our existing lead sources. We can edit these, which once again is just going to be changing the name. If we want to change referral to referrals, we could do that. We can choose to hide something. That will mean that current contacts or jobs will keep that lead source, but when we go to add a new contact, we wouldn't be able to choose that. We can also delete a lead source, but in order to do so, it has to have no contacts or jobs under it. You see this error that we got. Can't delete just a source that has contacts associated with it. So once we've got our lead sources figured out, we can then add them to our contacts or jobs. So when you go in to add them, they'll come up on the right-hand side, 4th from the top. We have a drop-down menu of everything that is inside our lead source page. If you're adding one and you don't see it show up right away, try refreshing your page. That works for just about everything. We can also adjust currently existing contacts, go into the contact, choose to edit them. And I can change his lead source from marketing campaign to referral or similar. All right, now we know about lead sources. Let's see the report. So the bars in the report will be measured on the left-hand side, and the dots, they'll be measured on the right-hand side. The bars represent the amount of leads that we have come in and how many are sold. For example, here on referrals, we had a total of 8 come in as referrals during our date range, which is this year. Of those 8, 2 of them were sold, and the red dot here tells us our sold rate, 25%, corresponds to this side. Marketing campaign, we had 4 come in, 2 were sold, and our sold rate is 50%. So if I was looking at this, I would say, I'm getting a lot of traction from my marketing campaign. Maybe I want to pour some more money into this. Then if I look over at Angie's list, I only got 1 and it wasn't sold. Maybe I don't want to do too much more with Angie's list. So this can give you some good direction on where you want to handle your business. Now we're coming to the end. So if we've got any questions, we're going to take those now.
We do actually have a couple questions here. One is, how do I add a link for my company's website to an email template?
That is that's a really good question, and it is a little off topic, but we were talking about some email templates. So let's head on to our email template here. And oops, that is not the email template. And let's open an email template right here. So what you can do to add in a company link is you can use this hyperlink right here, this hyperlink button, to add in your company address. You can type in the text for your company, and then you can insert whatever the address is, and that will now have a hyperlink. So in the email, so your clients can click on that and go right to your company website.
That's a good question. Do we have any others?
Yes, we do. Why aren't my estimates showing in the reports?
It is a very good question. It's something that is probably the most common thing that comes up when people are looking at reports over and over again. And we covered it before, but if you want it to show up here, then it needs to be in the correct status. You can check the status by going into your financials and looking for the status over here on the far side of your estimate. If it's not where you want it to be, choose change status, move it to approved or invoice for it to show up on your reports. As Dan reminded us earlier, if we convert it to an invoice, it will automatically be set to invoiced.
Yep. Thanks for bringing that up. That is a great question.
Yeah, that is a really good question. Another question we have here is, does the subject line I add to the email template populate in the subject field when I use that template?
Yeah, that is as we covered earlier, and we can come here to send an email, and we can choose any of these template fields. And so let's actually choose a template field here without a subject line, like Charles' signature. Oh, he actually has a subject line. I didn't realize that. But Charles' signature has a subject line here that as soon as we choose the design template, it will automatically populate the subject line in that a field. If you do not have a subject line added into your template, if you have an old email template and have not added a subject line to it yet, I was wanting to show you that there will nothing will populate. So you really want to go in and add subject lines to your email templates just to help automate the email templates for you. Make it so it's faster for you to send emails, and it'll make it so much easier for your company.
Yep. So they'll work for both manually sending an email and for automations. Thanks for the question.
Awesome. And I know we kind of covered this a little bit, but I think someone's just asking kind of for a reiteration on it. But they asked how to use those template fields on a subject line in an email template.
Yeah, that is an excellent question. Go on, Logan.
Yeah. So if we go back to our settings and we take a look at our templates, and if we're going to add in a template and we choose an email template, we will use the insert template field box here to put it in the body of the email. And to use it for our subject line, we'll choose the insert template field box up here. And that's how we can differentiate between those two.
Yep, and we do have the two different email template field drop downs just to make it so it's easier to add the template fields to each section.
Yep, makes a lot of sense. If we have no more pressing questions, then I think we were about ready to wrap up.
Yeah, it actually looks like that's all the questions we had. So,
all right.
Perfect. So as some final notes, the sales dashboard has been released to everybody, all accounts, and it really helps you show data that you need to project revenue for your company and to see where your sales reps are. The subject line feature that has been added to email templates really help automate your email templates and make sending emails super easy for you and your company.
So if you guys have any further questions, you are always free to reach out to our support team. And you can also view our previous webinars, which are all awesome, by visiting our YouTube page there. And you can also take a look at our great help articles and videos at support.jobnimbus.com. And if you joined us today and you're not a current JobNimbus user, definitely feel free to please sign up for a free demo using that link. And I do want to thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope you all have a great day.